ahead. I believe in the next 2 hours, we should be done. So maximum 2 hours, we should be done. Okay. So change management. We will look at some important aspects of change management, just as a way of introducing it to strategic management, and then we'll move to the next one. On the objectives, we would want to explain the concept of change management, highlight effective change management strategies, consider the VUCA environment, and discuss change management models. Before now, we used to have what we call the VUCA environment, but now we are adding the D, which is the VUCA environment. So when we get there, we'll find out what the D is all about. By introduction, in today's rapidly evolving business landscape, change is not merely a choice, but a necessity for organizations aiming to thrive and remain competitive. The relentless pace of technological advancement, shifting market dynamics, and ever-increasing customer expectations require organizations to adapt, innovate, and transform continuously. The need for effective change management strategies. Why do we need effective change management strategies? Number one, to mitigate resistance, mitigate against resistance. We understand that one of the major challenges to change is resistance. So when we have effective change management strategies, it will be easier for us to mitigate against the challenges. Of course, we also understand that change on itself comes with a whole lot of risks. So the mitigation will not just be to the resistance to the change, it also means mitigating the risks associated to the change. The next is optimizing resources. Change comes with resource, and we understand that one of the limitations to effective execution of change is resource constraints. But with effective change management strategies, we'll be able to optimize resources and allocate them to the right initiatives. Then minimizing disruptions. When we anticipate change, it helps us to build capacity towards accepting and managing the change. That on its own will help us to manage disruptions or minimize the disruptions as they come. Still on the need for effective change management, there is enhanced employee engagement. Change management, effective change management helps in enhancing employee engagement. Why? Because change management is participative or participatory. So change management is not driven by one person, rather it's driven by a team. So with effective communication, there will be good employee engagement, and that will help in managing the change. And I've spoken about managing the risk, that the introduction of change also comes with its risk. So with effective change management strategies, it helps us to manage risks. Then measuring success also. Introduction of change will help us to make comparison between where we used to be and where we are and where we're going. So that alone provides yardstick for measurement to know if we are having a good strategy or not. Then sustaining change. Effective change management strategies help us to sustain change. There is one thing about change. I don't know how many of us have noticed that, but this is one of the reoccurring aspects of change, which is the aspect of resistance. Okay. When a change is introduced, there is always this wall of resistance built against change. Okay, so even if you introduce change, there is this risk of sustainability. If the resistance is not taken care of, the sustainability might become a problem. Now, I want to give this advice. I think we've talked about it before by the time we're talking about the corporate level strategies, but let me mention it here briefly. Please, when you're opening a business, try to ensure that you have a good corporate governance structure in place. Now, if you establish a business that you're running, before introducing corporate governance, you have resistance coming from everywhere, even from your own self. Okay, you have resistance coming even from your own self. And then from the outside, the people you're bringing to be part of your corporate structure. So the best thing you want to do is to introduce corporate governance from the onset before moving forward, okay? So that is one of the things I would say. If you were able to introduce corporate governance early in time, it is easier to drive and sustain change. If you introduce corporate governance late, it will shake your organization a bit. And if you're one kind of a person that is averse to change, it can crumble the whole corporate governance introduction. So we just need to put that in mind as well. Now, let's look at the effective change management strategies. Number one, we have clear vision and communication. How do we create clear vision and communication? Change is driven by vision. So how are we sure that we're going to create a clear vision and a clear communication that will reduce resistance and be able to get the outcome of what we want to have? The strategy will involve developing a clear and compelling vision for the change. The benefits here will ensure everyone understands the purpose of the change, motivate and align employees towards a common goal, and reduce the resistance by addressing uncertainties. These are the things you have to do to be able to have clear vision and compelling vision, clear vision and communication. Then you have engagement and involvement. Remember I said change is a team effort, not just a personal effort. One person might initiate change, but it's a team that will drive the change. The initiation of a team could come just by introduction of a new vision, adjustment of an existing vision, or mission or goals. Okay, while it is the corporate level that might be able to introduce the vision and all of that, and then communicate it down to the team, the strategy implementation will require the engagement and involvement of the team members to drive. Okay, so the strategy here will involve involving employees at all levels in the change process, and the benefit here will be that you have to gain buy-ins and commitment from those affected, tap into diverse perspective and expertise, and then foster a sense of ownership and accountability. Change champions and leaders. Yeah, there are those who are the change champions and the change leaders, those who are driving the change, those who are initiating the change, those who are executing the change, right? The strategy here will be to identify and empower change champions and leaders. Who are those who can drive the change, who can initiate the change? You have to identify who they are. Benefits: inspire and guide employees through the change journey, serve as role models for embracing change, and address concerns and provide support. Still on the effective change management strategies, we have that on clear milestones and timelines. This is one of the areas that change becomes a challenge. Sometimes when we set out to achieve change, we don't have milestones, we don't have KPIs designed for those changes. So we don't even know when the expectations or the results from the change is expected to come up. We just want to have change, but there are no timelines. But we have to be much more deliberate on creating timelines and creating milestones. And that's why every strategic manager is considered to have good project management skills. Okay, that is very, very important. Now, what's the strategy here? Define specific milestones and timelines for the change. And the benefit will be creating a sense of progress, and achievement. When you have clear milestones and clear timelines, it helps you to have a sense of progress and achievement. That's if implementation is in place. Remember, strategy without execution is as good as not having the strategy. It helps to manage expectations and track progress, ensures accountability and focus. They have the communication plan. For us to have effective change management strategies, we must have good communication plan. The strategy is to develop a comprehensive communication plan, and the benefit will be to provide consistent and timely updates addressing concerns and questions proactively and fosters transparency and trust. They will have training and skill development. If you want to manage change, you have to enhance on skills, you have to enhance on capacity. Strategy is to provide training and resources to equip employees with necessary skills. The benefit here will be build confidence in handling new processes or technologies, reduce resistance arising from fear of the unknown, increases overall competency and productivity. Still on effective change management strategies, feedback mechanisms. The strategy will be to establish feedback channels for employees to express concerns and ideas. And the benefit will be allowing for course correction based on real-time feedback, demonstrating that employees' input is valued, and then enhances two-way communication. Another aspect is celebrating successes. The strategy here will be to acknowledge and celebrate achievement along change journey. The benefits will boost morale and motivation, reinforces the positive aspects of the change, and then encourages a culture of continuous improvement. The monitoring and evaluation is another aspect of change management, which will involve the strategy as continuously monitoring progress and evaluating the effectiveness of change initiatives. And then the benefit here will be identifying areas. It helps to identify areas needing adjustment, ensures alignment with strategic goals, and then provides data for future change efforts. Now, the last but not the least, resilience and adaptability. Effective change management strategies will have resilience and adaptability. What will be our strategy? Our strategy will be to foster resilience and adaptability within organization's culture. The benefit here will be preparing the organization to navigate future changes, promote a culture of innovation and continuous learning. Now, this is an area I would like us to pay attention to. That's the VOCAD environment. Before now, we used to have the VOCA, but now we have the VOCA environment. So what is the VOCA all about, or VOCAD? In today's rapidly evolving world, organizations face a new and complex reality, a VOCAD environment. This acronym represents 5 critical characteristics that define the challenges organizations encounter. We have volatility, we have uncertainty, we have complexity, we have ambiguous, and then, or ambiguity, and then we have disruptive. Okay. Now, in some write-ups, you have D as diversity. Okay, that is also an issue that we're facing. So we have VOCAD, some represent it as disruptive, some represent it as diversity. So when you want to talk about strategic human resource management, we look at VOCAD in terms of diversity, okay? But in aspect of change management, we want to look at it in the aspect of disruption, okay? Because it is the disruption that is introducing the change, all right? So let's move on. Now, the volatility here refers to the rapid and unpredictable changes that organizations experience in various aspects of the operations. These changes can include sudden market shifts, economic fluctuations, and unforeseen disruptions like natural disasters or global events. They will have the uncertain or the uncertainty. It characterizes the lack of predictability in the VOCAD environment. Organizations often grapple with incomplete information and an inability to foresee future developments, making planning and decision-making more challenging. They will have the complex. Complexity signifies the intricate interconnections and multifaceted nature of modern challenges. Complex problems often result from various factors and stakeholders requiring holistic and adaptable solutions. They will have the ambiguous. Ambiguity here refers to the vagueness or lack of clarity surrounding issues and decisions in the VOCAD environment. It can arise from conflicting information, diverse perspectives, or rapidly changing circumstances. Disruptions here refer to events or forces that can abruptly alter the status quo. These disruptions can be technological, example, digital transformation, environmental, example, climate change, or societal, like pandemics, and then they demand rapid adjustment. Now, we have the concept of the new normal. I think since the advent of coronavirus, one of the key words in the business environment introduced through change is the new normal. The VOCAD environment has become the new normal for organizations across industries. It challenges traditional business models, demands adaptive leadership, and underscores the need for agility, innovation, and resilience. Understanding and responding to volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and disruption have never been more critical for organizations seeking to remain competitive and sustainable. The critical role of management in navigating the VOCAD environment. The role of management here will involve, number 1, ensuring adaptability and agility. Number 2, mitigating risks and uncertainties. Number 3, identifying opportunities and chaos. And then number 4, sustaining resilience and competitiveness. This will be the role of management in a VOCAD environment, okay? Key strategies for managing in a VOCAD environment. Number 1 is agile leadership. agile leadership. We've talked about strategic leadership, which in essence talks about visionary leadership, okay? Agile leadership, on the other hand, talks more about a flexible kind of leadership, a leadership that is transformative in nature, not just inspirational, but change-driven kind of leadership, adaptive kind of leadership. Okay, so leaders should have the ability to respond to changes fast enough. Okay, so cultivate leaders who can responsibly to changing conditions, make informed decisions, and inspire their teams. Then we have the strategic innovations. Foster a culture of continuous innovation to adapt products, services, and processes quickly. We just spoke about strategic entrepreneurship and innovation, all right? So to be able to manage a VUCA environment, make sure you keep to a culture of strategic innovation. Then we have risk management, implement robust risk management assessment and mitigation strategies to anticipate and address potential disruptions. Digital transformation, embrace digital technologies to enhance flexibility, efficiency, and data-driven decision making. Then we have collaborative networks, build partnerships and collaborative networks to share resources, knowledge, and insights. Then we have scenario planning, develop multiple scenarios for potential features to be better prepared for a range of outcomes. So if you want to manage a VUCA environment, then you can try scenario planning to create different scenarios. We have the worst case scenario, best case scenario, and all of that. You can create such scenarios and then work with them. Then we also have the resilience building. This is one area that every business today must pay attention to. During the advent of COVID, a whole lot of businesses went into extinction because resilience was never built. So we must build resilience in our businesses and also build resiliences in our own self. Strengthen organizational resilience by diversifying supply chains and building redundancy. Adaptive culture, promote a culture that values learning, adaptability, and the ability to thrive amid change. Communication and transparency, emphasize open and transparent communication to keep stakeholders involved and engaged. Then we have the employee empowerment and measuring success. The employee empowerment will have to deal with empowering employees to take ownership of their roles and contribute to problem solving and innovation. The measuring success will be defining KPIs and matrices to assess the effectiveness of VUCA management strategies. I said this earlier, that one of the challenges we have in change management is that we don't have timelines. We don't have milestones. We don't have KPIs. So without KPIs, without milestones, without timelines, we won't be able to measure the progress of what's happening. Okay, so for us to actually know whether our VUCA strategies or our key strategies for managing the VUCA environment is working, we need to have KPIs, right? Now, quickly, let's look at real-world examples of organizations that successfully manage VUCA challenges. So I have IBM in the case of transformation in the face of technological disruption. So the challenge here was that IBM, a company with a rich history in hardware and software, faced significant disruption with the decline of traditional computing and the rise of cloud computing and artificial intelligence. Of course, we know that this is a big problem. The response, IBM strategically pivoted towards AI, cloud services, and even blockchain technology. They invested heavily in Watson, their AI platform, and acquired Red Hat to bolster their cloud offering. The result is that this transformation allowed IBM to adapt to VUCA environment, generating significant revenue from cloud and cognitive solutions, and positioning itself as a leader in these emerging fields. Okay, we have Netflix. Of course, everywhere we go, we now talk about Netflix. But someone came to one of our facilitators. We just rounded up project management yesterday for those of them that are doing weekday program. So we rounded up yesterday. It was a 5-day program. So one of the facilitators asked me a question. I said, "Sir, do you subscribe to Netflix?" I said, "For what exactly?" He said, "Sir, there is a whole lot of things you learn from there. Apart from the movies, you have access to documentaries, useful information that will be." I said, "Okay, I've never thought about Netflix in that regard. All the information they push about Netflix is about movies." okay? And I don't want to subscribe to something that I will use all my time to watch movies. But when he talked about documentaries, and then documentaries, economic documentaries, and things that could be of relevance to me as a consultant, I felt like, wow, if that's the case, maybe one of these days I have to try it out. Okay, but one of the things that Netflix has done is to completely disrupt. Netflix disrupted the traditional television management system, the traditional model of media. Okay, so Netflix adapting to changing media landscape. The challenge here was Netflix faced VUCA challenges as traditional cable TV declined and streaming platforms multiplied and increasing competition. The response, Netflix invested heavily in content creation and original programming while expanding globally. They also refined their recommendation algorithms to enhance user experience. The result is that Netflix is now a global streaming giant with millions of subscribers worldwide. Their strategic response to VUCA transformed them from a DVD rental service to a major player in the entertainment industry. Okay, before I go to the next one, is there anyone in the class here who have experienced an organization or have an example of an organization who has actually experienced the VUCA challenges and were able to come through? Do you have any experience or you know organizations of such? Do you have anyone, any organization in mind that have experienced such a thing? Okay. While I await your response, let me move on. We have that of the General Electric.
Hello, boss. I think COVID was the
complex market. The challenge here is that GE, a conglomerate operating in various industries, faced challenges due to its complexity and changing market dynamics. The response, GE embarked on a massive reconstructing effort, divesting non-core businesses and focusing on core sectors like aviation, healthcare, and energy. They also embraced digital technology for industrial solutions. And the result is that this transformation allowed GE to simplify its structure and regain financial stability, highlighting the importance of agility in complex markets. We also have the example of Amazon agility and customer centricity. The challenge is that Amazon operates in a highly competitive and rapidly changing rental and technology landscape. The response is Amazon's relentless focus on customer-centric innovation and investment in logistics and cloud services has enabled it to stay agile and maintain market leadership. This result is that Amazon has expanded into numerous markets and is not only the world's largest e-commerce company, but also a major player in cloud computing with Amazon Web Services. Now we have the SpaceX of Elon Musk disrupting the aerospace industry. The challenge, the aerospace industry was characterized by high costs and limited innovation. The response, SpaceX, led by Elon Musk, aimed to reduce the cost of space exploration through reusable rockets and innovative technologies. The result is that SpaceX disrupted the aerospace industry by dramatically reducing launch costs, making space more accessible for government and private enterprises. Now, let's begin to summarize by looking at models of change management or the change management models. We have the first one we call the ADKAR. The ADKAR is just an acronym representing awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So ADKAR says that the first level of change is recognizing the need for the change and creating awareness for that need. And then the second one is to have a desire for that change to be made. And then having the requisite knowledge to drive the change, to implement the change, and then having the ability also with the necessary skills and knowledge in place, employees should also have ability to implement change effectively. And then reinforcing the change, having seen the impact of the change, if it is a positive one, then we want to reinforce it. If it is not the one giving us the result, we also want to reinforce it till we get the one giving us the result. So in simple terms, you can use ADKAR any day, anytime for change management. Then you have other models of change management. You have the Lewis change management model, where you have the unfreeze, change, and refreeze, which is more like the ADCA. Okay. This model, developed by Kurt Lewis, suggests that change should start by unfreezing the current state, that's challenging the status quo, breaking the status quo, introducing the change, and then refreezing the new state as the new norm. It emphasizes the need to create motivation for change, implement change, and then reinforce and stabilize change. So for those of us in Abuja, there is this new policy they introduced in Abuja now, the pack and pay policy. So last week, Wednesday, I was in my Tama for a meeting. And one of the challenges in Abuja is parking space. Anybody that can solve that problem will be a very rich man. Okay, one of the major problems in Abuja is parking space. Parking space. Now, I got to my Tama, and the organization I'm going to, they don't have space inside. In fact, the staff park outside. And then I had to park, and someone approached me. No, one of the security men in the parastatal called my attention. They say, sir, please discuss with these park and pay people. If not, before you come outside, they will lock your car. I was like, I don't understand. Why would they lock my car? Is this not your environment? Am I not supposed to park here? It says, sir, this one is outside our facility. Okay. You have to park, you have to talk with them so that they don't lock your car before you come outside. I was like, wow. Okay. So I had to call them and I told them, okay, I'm having a meeting here. They said, sir, we are going to give you 1 hour. If you spend more than 1 hour, then you have to pay. I was like, okay, that's okay. 1 hour is a good time. Okay. So I had to quickly do what I had to do. And then I came out, although I think I spent more than an hour, but because I had already discussed with them, they didn't charge me anything and we left. Now, yesterday, I was around Wuse. If you're conversant with Abuja, there's a place we call Wuse. That's one of the busiest areas in Abuja. So I went around the National Productivity Center to just check something. Now, I've been going to National Productivity Center before the introduction of Park and Pay. And even after the introduction, I never had need to pay for once. But yesterday, for the first time, I was made to move my car because I didn't have a physical 100 naira to give them. In fact, I didn't have any money to give them. I didn't have any physical cash on me. Now, what brought me to this is the cashless policy in Nigeria. So we introduced cashless policy in Nigeria, and I think I'm among the people that promoted the cashless policy. So I barely carry cash around. I barely, like, it is rare for you to find cash in my hands, except maybe there's something that happened and cash entered my hand and I'm using it. But I barely go to the bank and say I'm withdrawing money. Okay, I do everything through either the mobile app or the USSD or POS and all of that. So yesterday, I didn't go out with my card. The phone I left with wasn't the phone connected to any of my mobile banking apps. And I didn't have any physical money to give to the Park and Pay people. And at my time, they gave me 1 hour. At Productivity Center, National Productivity Center, they told me my time starts from 0. As soon as I'm parking, I'm expected to pay. I was like, wow. Okay. And the lady was polite enough. It's okay, sir. What we do is that we'll try to create a space for you inside so that you can go inside. All right. But if you're going to park outside here, you must pay the 100 naira. And thank God for that help. If not, I'd have actually driven back to the office because there was no way I had any card in terms of money. Now, what am I trying to say? Every change has to go through the unfreezing, the introduction of the change, and then the refreezing. Now, most of us in Abuja, we are trying to unfreeze from the time of you go park your car and go to watch, go and attend to your meetings and come out. Now we are unfreezing that. So whether you like it or not, you must make provision. But if you're driving in Abuja now, you have to make provision for at least 1,000 naira in your wallet. And the 1,000 naira shouldn't be 1,000 naira note. It should be broken down either 100 naira, because you don't know how many times you're going to engage in a meeting for that day. And as soon as we get used to that, then that change becomes a sort of permanent thing, and then it gets frozen back, all right? So it becomes part of the norm, and nobody's going to complain about it. But now people are complaining, okay? Just like the days of cashless policy, when it was introduced, most of us complained, okay? But now it has become part of us. Now we don't even want to have cash. We don't want to hold physical cash again. Then we have the Kota's 8-step change model. Here he talked about creating a sense of OJC, forming a powerful guiding coalition, creating a vision for change, communicating the vision, empowering employees for broad-based action, generating short-term wins, consolidating gains and producing more change, and then anchoring new approaches in the culture. Okay, anchor new approaches in the culture. So this is Kota's step management model. If you look at Kota, look at Lewis, and look at Atka, they are all talking about the same thing, okay? But the one you understand the most will definitely work for you. Now, in conclusion, the dynamic nature of today's business environment necessitates change and effective change management. The dynamic nature of today's business environment necessitates change, and effective change management is the linchpin for success. Organizations that recognize the significance of change management and employ robust strategies for better position, or are better positioned rather, to navigate complexities, seize opportunities, and thrive in an ever-evolving world. Managing a VUCA environment requires proactive strategies, resilient leadership, and a culture of adaptability. Organizations that embrace these principles are better equipped to not only survive, but thrive in today's complex and ever-changing world. Thank you so much for following through.